The first one of these for me. I'm delighted to be back in this role as council president. I last served as council president in 2006. A lot has changed since then, including this tradition, this opportunity to meet with the press once each week. I'm looking forward to it. I think we're in a good place as colleagues. I think we're all working together very well. We are going to need to be working together very well, clearly, because the budget situation is somewhat more challenging than I think we had anticipated. The last revenue estimate came in $96 million short of the estimate for Montgomery County, and that's going to put the county executive in a somewhat challenging situation as he prepares his FY 2016 budget. We are very eager to work cooperatively with our new governor, but he's facing a very substantial shortfall as well, and so his ability to achieve some of his promises to cut taxes and cut spending, he will have to cut spending. Whether he's able to cut taxes, we'll see. What that will mean for state aid to the counties clearly is something that we're going to watch with some nervous anticipation, and you know, we're just going to try to work through it. But certainly we're going to work through it as good colleagues, and I am very committed to working interactively with all council members and making sure that when I speak on behalf of the body that I've been consulting with my colleagues so that I really am representing the body. With that, I'm glad to be here, and I'll take any questions that may be on your mind.
I was wondering if you could comment on the Silver Spring Transit Center costs. Right. I know you commented a little bit on that, but right. If you could just expand on what you're anticipating the council will do tomorrow and how you see that playing out for right. In the future.
Well, tomorrow we're just introducing the matter, and that's all that will happen tomorrow. There will be a public hearing on January 13th, and we will move the measure as expeditiously as we can schedule it. The urgency of getting this facility open and accessible to the public is what is on my mind. I'm as aggravated as my constituents are, and I know that all of my colleagues are frustrated, and I know that the public is frustrated. From everything that I understand, the fault lies with the contractors, and it is very, very important that the contractors in the long run bear the cost, but the contractors have not yet owned up to that responsibility, and rather than waiting for the matter to be resolved, which ultimately will occur in court, I do think it is the right thing to do to proceed now and get this facility open and running. You know, as I was quoted saying, it's a bitter pill to swallow, but I do think the right thing to do now is provide the cash flow necessary to complete the project, pursuing every possible legal means to have the county reimbursed for what will ultimately be the contractor's responsibilities to make the county whole.
There's been reports that the county executive's meeting with Mr. Hogan this week. Have you had any conversation with the governor-elect?
Not yet, no. I'm delighted that the governor-elect will be appearing at the Committee for Montgomery breakfast on Friday morning, and I'll be there as well, and I'll be seated at his table. I'll take the opportunity to ask him for a meeting myself, and that's as far as that's gone yet. I have spoken with Ike about his upcoming meeting, and you know, all of us are really eager to work constructively. As I said in my speech last week, we are not Congress. We're not going to allow petty partisanship to get in the way of the work that we all need to do together, and we want Governor Hogan to be successful, and we're looking forward to working with him.
I have another question.
Yes.
About Mr. Silverman.
Yes.
Submitted his resignation last
Yes.
week. Your reaction?
Well, Steve's a good friend, and I think that he has been a very, very energetic advocate for the county's economy. I think he, we all owe him a lot of thanks for his many years of service to the county as a council member and as economic development director. The recovery from the recession has not happened as rapidly as we want. You can't tie that to any one person. We are creating jobs. We have a very healthy, dynamic economy, and everyone would like it to be healthier and more dynamic. But you know, I thought it was telling that when county executive cabinets up in Baltimore County talked about the revitalization strategy he had for Towson, he described his goal as to make Towson the next Bethesda. So, you know, we do have other jurisdictions looking enviously at the success of our economy, even as, you know, sometimes maybe too much we look across the river and talk about what's happening in Northern Virginia. You know, we do have a strong and dynamic economy, and I think Steve's done a good job in reaching out to businesses, growing and maintaining the businesses that we have here. I have been meeting with the Montgomery Business Development Corporation. I do think that we need to place a new increased emphasis on marketing the county. I know that Steve has tried to do that. I think he's been a little challenged with the resources available to his department, and I think that's the most appropriate role for the Montgomery Business Development Corporation, is to improve marketing Montgomery County. But I think Steve's done a good job, and I think we all owe him thanks for his service to Montgomery County.
And when you say marketing the county, you're talking nationally, internationally, both?
All of that. Certainly, I mean, yes, very much both. And we are operating in an international marketplace, and I think it's important that we be globally competitive and that we seek markets and opportunities in other countries as well as throughout the United States.
I had a question on the, going back a little bit, the ad hoc committee on liquor control.
Certainly.
Could you go into a little bit the different issues that you've already heard about going into that, and
Sure.
maybe what you hope to expand on?
Sure. Well, number one, we really need a very clear understanding of how the issues relating to theft, setting aside of surplus product, departmental employees improperly handling product, selling it outside of normal channels, and accusations of drinking on the job. Those are very, very serious matters, and the council has an important oversight role, and that will be the first order of business for the new ad hoc committee. Beyond that, we've all heard over many years constituents, restaurateurs, suggesting that some other method of distribution, delivery, inventory could be more effective, and I think we need to explore that. I want people to understand that the creation of this ad hoc committee is not in and of itself a call for privatization of the department. We will look at privatization of the department along with a wide range of other issues. How can we be competitive? How can we have a lively nightlife? How can we have a lively restaurant scene? How can Montgomery County consumers get access to a wide range of product? I've appointed myself as chairman of the Health and Human Services Committee because historically the argument in favor of being a controlled jurisdiction was we didn't want too much of a proliferation of liquor stores on every corner, or you know, the potential for abuse. And so I think those are still issues for local government. Are we fulfilling the role on both sides of making adequate product available, making adequate inventory available, but not having a proliferation of, you know, certainly public drinking or, you know, too many liquor stores that create an atmosphere and an environment that I think our neighborhoods would find undesirable.
And in terms of the stakeholders that will be working with the committee, are you thinking about calling in representatives from other jurisdictions that operate differently?
Among others, sure. We'll be looking at alternative models, private sector and semi-public, and you know, some of the states that have alcoholic beverage control systems in place. We'll also be working very closely with our employees who have expressed a lot of interest. We want to understand, as I said earlier, what went wrong within the workforce. So we will be communicating extensively with McGeo. We'll be communicating with the restaurant industry. We'll be communicating with beer and wine store owners. We'll be communicating with consumers, ordinary constituents. And basically anyone who wants to be heard should contact us. We're really wide open, and we're giving ourselves an adequate time frame and working with OLO to have a wide-ranging report within a year. Anything else?
I have one more question. I just came from a press conference on pedestrian safety, where Captain Didone said, you know, we have in the range of 400 pedestrian accidents a year, which is high. How important is that to you to get that number down, and what is the county doing to make that happen?
Well, you must have you're better informed than me since you just came from the press conference. I think, Ike has always made this a high priority, certainly is a priority for me and the entire county council. And if he has new, I don't actually know what he announced this morning. What did he announce this morning?
Well, they were talking about the holiday season and just making safety a priority.
Warning people. Yeah, be careful.
We're covering quite a few pedestrian accidents. And
yes.
so I'm just wondering, with the committee you're on, if that's on your radar screen.
Well, I'm chairman of the Health and Human Services Committee, and I sit on the Planning, Housing, and Economic Development Committee. I think issues of pedestrian safety are primarily in the Public Safety Committee and secondarily in the Transportation and Environment Committee. But I would hope that the new road bill, Bill 3313, that we just passed, would lead to a narrowing of roads and safer pedestrian access, more speed control, more bump outs, to make it safer for pedestrians and bicyclists. I think, as an example, in White Flint, we've been pushing very hard to narrow the state roads and make them more walker and biker friendly. So that's a big focus for this county council, and every time we have a new infrastructure project, whether it's county roads or state roads, we're going to continue to emphasize that. That's the direction we want to go, especially in our urban centers. If we're providing access to transit, we don't want people to have to drive. We want them to be able to walk safely. And certainly at the holiday time, we want to remind people to be careful and cautious when they're in parking lots, malls, stores. People can be easily distracted either by other family members or by their cell phones. You've really got to be alert and aware every time you're walking outside. And save your cell phone for when you're sitting at your desk or sitting in your living room. You shouldn't be fiddling around while you're walking in public and putting yourself at risk.
Okay.
Easy. Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right.